Do you make the same commitment that you will absolutely, sir, that you will absolutely accept the result of this election?
I will look at it at the time. I'll keep you in suspense.
Well,
okay?
Chris, let me respond to that because that's horrifying. You know, every time Donald thinks things are not going in his direction, he claims whatever it is rigged against him. He lost the Iowa caucus. He lost the Wisconsin primary. He said the Republican primary was rigged against him. Then Trump University gets sued for fraud and racketeering. He claims the court system and the federal judge is rigged against him. There was even a time when he didn't get an Emmy for his TV program 3 years in a row, and he started tweeting that the Emmys were rigged against him.
Should have gotten it.
This is a mindset. This is how Donald thinks. And it's funny, but it's also really troubling.
Okay.
You know, that is not the way our democracy...
The election is November 3rd, and it's been said that we won't know the results until days later. When do you think we'll know the results?
All right. Jimmy, you raise an important point, and I hope the American people understand it, because this is something I worry about. My view is every vote must be counted. For reasons which I don't have the time to get into tonight, you're going to have a situation, I suspect, in states like Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, other states, where they are going to be receiving huge amounts of mail-in ballots. And unlike states like Florida or Vermont, they're not being able, for bad reasons, to begin processing those ballots until, I don't know, election day, or maybe when the polls close. That means you're going to have states dealing with perhaps millions of mail-in ballots. Here is my worry. What polls show and what studies have shown is that for whatever reason, Democrats are more likely to use mail-in ballots. Republicans are more likely to walk into polling booths on election day. It is likely that the first votes that will be counted will be those people who came in on election day, which will be Republican. And here is the fear, and I hope everybody hears that. It could well be, and I don't know what's going to happen, nobody does, but it could well be that at 10 o'clock on election night, Trump is winning in Michigan, he's winning in Pennsylvania, he's winning in Wisconsin, and he gets on the television, he says, "Thank you, Americans, for re-electing me, it's all over, have a good day." But then the next day and the day following, all of those mail-in ballots start getting counted, and it turns out that Biden has won those states. At which point Trump says, "See, I told you the whole thing was fraudulent. I told you those mail-in ballots were crooked, and we're not going to leave office." So that is a worry that I and a lot of people have. So the results, we don't know what's happened. Maybe the results will be on election.
Tens of millions of unsolicited ballots without any verification measures whatsoever.
Well, we're interrupting this because what the President of the United States is saying, in large part, is absolutely untrue. He began, and we're not going to allow it to keep going because it's not true. He began with there were legal votes, and if they only count the legal votes, I easily win. If they count the illegal votes, they're trying to steal the election. There is not a scintilla of evidence that this is true. None. There's only words here. No truth. He said the pollsters knowingly got the polls wrong to create voter suppression. There is no evidence of any kind that this has happened, and he's provided none. He said that there is actually a red wave in this election. That is categorically false. He said there was election interference. There is no evidence to support that, and the president has offered none. He said the polls were fake. In some cases, the polls were wrong. It's been widely discussed that maybe the idea of polling needs to be reinvented. That's for another day. There's no evidence that the polls were, quote, fake. He said that observers were not allowed in to watch the counting of the votes. Categorically false. He said that he won a court challenge on allowing observers into view. And in fact, he did win a court challenge in Allegheny County in Pennsylvania That court challenge was specifically about the distance from which poll watchers would be able to stand. If memory serves, it was 12 feet from the counters. One representative from the Democratic Party, one representative from the Republican Party. In Allegheny County, he specifically asked, or his campaign did, that poll viewers and observers be allowed to stand within 6 feet. They agreed to do so. And in Allegheny County, according to reports from Pennsylvania, they shut down the count so that they could reconfigure the situation so that representatives from the Democrats and the Republicans could stand not within 12 feet, but within 6 feet of the count. That change was made, and then they were planning to restart. He said that that after, if you could take him out of my ear, please. He said they wanted to wait until after the election and then find extra votes for him. There is no evidence that this is true, and he's offered no evidence to support it. He said that he won Florida, bigly, I believe was the quote. He won Florida by 300, let's see. He won Florida by 3.4%. He said that he would have won the election legally. Right now, Vice President Biden leads President Trump in the total votes counted by 3.9 million. He said he will not allow the corruption to steal the election. There is no indication of any corruption to steal the election, and no evidence thereof has been offered. He said that they don't want anyone watching as they count the ballots. This is categorically false. In each case, observers are allowed from both sides of the political aisle to watch the counting happen. He said that they are trying to commit election fraud. Categorically false. In the state of Georgia, the Secretary of State was asked if there had been any voter fraud investigations of yet. And the Secretary of State in the state of Georgia said there have been no complaints of voter fraud by Democrats or Republicans. And as a result, there have been no investigations of voter fraud. The truth is, the count continues. The vote ended at different times as set by law and structure in states and counties across the nation on Election Day, Tuesday, November 3rd. The vote stopped and the counting began. In some cases, ballots were allowed by mail-in as long as postmarked by the end of the day on November 3rd to be counted for a few more days. Pennsylvania, for instance, the Republican-controlled state created rules that allowed for the counting to continue through Friday of this week, so until tomorrow. No votes are being allowed after November the 3rd. In some states, they have to arrive by November the 3rd. But allegations of voter fraud, allegations of trying to steal the election, none of that is true. Not one word.
About an hour ago, I called Governor Reagan in California, and I told him that I congratulated him for a fine victory.
Just a few minutes ago, I called Vice President Bush and congratulated him on his victory.
Regardless of our differences, all Americans share the same purpose, to make this, the world's greatest nation, more safe and more secure.
Just moments ago, I spoke with George W. Bush and congratulated him on becoming the 43rd President of the United States.
I spoke to President Bush and I offered him and Laura our congratulations.
A little while ago, I had the honor of calling Senator Barack Obama to congratulate him. Please. I have just called President Obama to congratulate him on his victory.
Last night, I congratulated Donald Trump and offered to work with him on behalf of our country.
Do you think we're stupid? You think we're fools? You know something? The Democrats do think you're stupid, and they do think you're fools, and that's why you get called deplorable and chumps. It's over. We're going to stick with this. We're going to win this election. We've actually won it. It's just a matter of counting the votes fairly.
They're trying to make a mockery of the election of this country. We're going to win Pennsylvania, but they're trying to cheat us out of it because they know it's their only path to victory.
We have no idea if they really are ballots. We have no idea if they're signed, if they're postmarked properly, if it isn't just the same person who submitted 100,000 ballots, and they all got counted. So we are going to continue the lawsuit here. We're going to bring a second one, and then we're going to bring a federal lawsuit, and we're going to take a very good look at whether we bring this nationally.
This afternoon, the Trump campaign filed a lawsuit to stop the counting of ballots in Pennsylvania. That is simply wrong. It goes against the most basic principles of our democracy. It takes away the right of every American citizen to cast their vote and to choose our leaders. Our election officials at the state and local levels should be free to do their jobs without fear, without intimidation, without attacks. These attempts to subvert the democratic process are simply disgraceful. We're going to fight every single attempt to disenfranchise voters. We will continue to administer free and fair elections in Pennsylvania. Let me be clear, in Pennsylvania, every vote is going to count. I'm going to fight like hell to protect the vote of every Pennsylvanian.
President Trump cannot be reelected if he doesn't win Pennsylvania's 20 electoral votes.
A reality call for President Trump, even from his favorite television network, Fox News, that his rival Joe Biden has taken the lead in the critical swing state of Pennsylvania, as well as Georgia, makes the Democrats' victory all but inevitable.
The mail-in ballots where there's tremendous corruption and fraud going on.
Donald Trump could see the vote slipping away from him last night, or, as he sees it, being stolen.
If you count the legal votes, I easily win. If you count the illegal votes, they can try to steal the election from us.
But the votes being counted now are not illegal. They are legal postal ballots, sent in their millions by mail, the majority by Democrats, many of whom wanted to avoid turning up on election day and risking infection in the middle of a pandemic.
People celebrating on the streets of New York.
All over America right now. I predict that you're going to see large crowds all over the country celebrating what has just happened. And it's okay for us to wallow in that for a while. My party stayed unified, and that's not always easy.
That is the White House for you. People celebrating in front of the White House.
We also have to stay focused on the fact that we did not have the victories up and down the ballot that we hoped for. And we've got to figure that part out. And
celebration in front of the White House.
Actually get things done. Yes.
Simply fantastic.
We'll be able to do a lot by executive order, just as Donald Trump has done. And nobody has stomped on the different branches of government more completely than Donald Trump. I mean, he has totally taken away the power of the congressional branch with the acquiescence, I might add, of Republicans in Congress. So now Joe Biden, he'll be able to push the envelope on executive power also. But that will not fix some of the problems we've got to fix.
That's New York.
And that's going to
on the streets of New York.
Stay unified